All right. Welcome back to season 2, episode 9, part 4. I think, maybe. Is that a 5? Are you holding up a 5? She's holding up a 5, ladies and gentlemen, because I can't count.
I could be wrong. I can only count to 4, so I don't know what we're up to now.
Part 7.
We were
of
time. So anyway, so I think we're coming close to the midpoint here. It is going to fall after this and going into Nerdanel visiting Pretty Dark Shop. And she says, she starts off, you know, they have a very brief conversation trying to bring up that Melkor had. He basically says, I want nothing to do with that megalomaniac creep. Not in those words exactly. We could, you know, lenses directing the light from the trees into something on his in this scene also.
Yeah. Yeah, we should see him.
He could, like, when he hears Nerdanel
progress.
Yeah, and when he hears Nerd, he immediately shuts it down because he doesn't want anything to see.
Oh.
He goes, creepy.
Yeah, he should be acting a little secretive about it. But what he acts secretive about with her, like, of anyone else, he can't really be distrustful of his own wife.
That's true.
So it might be that she goes to open the door and he shuts everything down and says, "Oh, it's only you." You know?
There you go.
Like, it could be something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, I like that.
But so we do see his paranoia starting up here.
Right.
And him being a little bit not wanting to talk about what he's doing.
Yeah. I like
But he should tell her. He should tell her the project is to capture the light of the trees. Because it hasn't come up yet, and you trust her enough.
Yes.
I think too. I like the idea. I don't know if we do it here or if we do it somewhere else, but I like the idea of him, of Feanor calling out Melkor for being megalomaniacal, for like being this ego-driven person. It's just like, yes, because so often it's the things that's wrong with you that you see in other people
that you would hate in somebody else
so much, especially in stories. Like, this happens all the time.
When I see condescending people talking down gets my goat, it really irritates me because it's something I struggle with on a daily basis.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Met that I'm like, I cannot stand this person. They're so annoying. I hate them so much. And it's like, because they're just like me. Uh-oh. So yeah, I recognize that.
Yeah.
But they're more annoying.
Yes.
I have redeeming qualities.
Of course. Clearly.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean, because you're.
But yeah, I don't like obnoxious know-it-alls. Oh wait. I am very obnoxious, and I'm definitely a know-it-all. I describe myself that way.
You want that?
I can't deny it. No.
Anyway.
I can try to be more polite about it, but anyway.
So we get that scene. We can go from there to Celegorm and Quan.
Wait, I thought we were doing Celegorm in the early in Act 2.
Right.
We were going from Nerdanel and Melkor in the workshop out to Celegorm and Orome, then back to Tyrion to do some Melkor talking about Middle Earth. Now Nerdanel in Feanor's workshop.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So now we would go to what?
I'm afraid that we might be moving a little too fast. There's a scene in there, but to get to, I feel like the scene between Nerdinella is expressing his deep concern for Feanor's well-being. That comes right before the end of Act 3. That's like
yes.
where we're going to
I feel like her first visit to the workshop, she's not full of concern. She's curious about what he's working on, and maybe has a few minor concerns, but they're not serious yet.
Yeah.
Because he's still early in the process. He's not taking care of himself. He's not obsessed with his work. He's focused on it, but she's seen him focused on his work before, so she's not worried yet. But he might say something to her. He might say something to her in that first scene in the workshop about how this is going to be his greatest project.
Yes.
So he might on it up front, and she doesn't necessarily pick up on how that could be a bad thing.
Right.
Right.
She hasn't seen him in a while. Like, he hasn't come out of his workshop himself.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, like we could have somebody come obsessively like to visit Feanor, like, oh yeah, I was in the neighborhood, want to come and confer with him about something, and that's when she tells the camera, look, I haven't seen him in days. I don't know how long we want to make it. Months, years. I mean, elves could maybe be in their workshop.
I feel like even elves can't make it without food for years.
Someone could be taking food to him, though. If he's too busy to leave the workshop, someone could be bringing him his meals.
That's true.
Yeah, but I think that's
really interesting. It would be really interesting if he hasn't actually eaten.
Oh, I see. Because we were saying it has to cost him something to make these.
Right.
So if he comes out emaciated at the end, yeah, that's...
Yeah.
But I feel like, would everyone around him let him do that? He's a very forceful person. He does what he wants, but would his own family not feed him?
Well, because it's not like she hasn't seen him. And it may be not unusual for him to go, this may be, but I have occasionally been so busy that I have forgotten to eat.
Sure, yeah. It happens if you're involved in a project. It's just, how long would his family let it go on without intervening?
In a week, now she might be concerned.
Yeah, so I feel like it would get to the point where she'd be like, okay, this is enough of this, and you need to come out now.
Right.
So you want to have another confrontation between the two of them?
Hmm?
Okay. In that case, we definitely need another scene. I would say that we
need something
to have any conversations in his workshop. So what else? I guess we could. MacLeod having. I feel like.
What about MacLeod?
MacLeod having a concert on its own. I mean, it could be shown in conjunction with something.
Well, we were going to do it whatever the opening scene was with the wedding or the family party or whatever. MacLeod was going to be playing music.
Having him perform there makes sense. I was trying to say, maybe we could use. That doesn't really work.
I've got it. Bobway and MacLeod get together and sing Tra-La-La-Lolly for the first time in Middle-earth history.
I am fine with Bobway being one of the Tra-La-La-Lolly elves.
Absolutely. He's definitely a Tra-La-La-Lolly elf.
Luckily, they're not in Valinor, so we don't give about them.
The magic of being a Tra-La-La-Lolly elf means maybe you can show up there. I don't know. Or maybe we cut to Middle-earth just to see someone sing Tra-La-La-Lolly for the first time. It's a momentous moment.
And the first Tra-La-La-Lolly elves.
There's plenty going on in this episode. I think we could probably think of something to do with one of Finway's grandchildren right about now.
Yes.
Well, that's what I'm
Okay, so here's our choices. We can show adult Mithras and Fingolfin still being friends if we want. Turgon, we probably just married off at the beginning of the episode, so we don't need to worry about him anymore. Of Feanor's sons, we introduced Mithras, MacLeod, and Caligorm, the three oldest. We've got the four younger ones, Curfin, the twins. Twins would still be pretty young here. For Finarfin's kids, the only one we've introduced is Galadriel, the youngest. So she has three older brothers. If we wanted to do anything with them, we could. I don't think we need the older brothers yet.
Should we go back to...
I mean, Conrad's an awesome elf, but...
Gilfin? Is there something we can do him back into the story? Because we haven't seen him all episode, aside from him being at that...
I'm sorry, who do we need? Who did you say we needed to bring back?
Say again?
Who did you say we needed to bring in?
If we... Hang on.
That's it.
Since we need a scene in between the Caligorm and Juan scene, and the Feanor shop to argue with him scene, could we touch conversation between Finarfin and Fingolfin?
I see. Where would that fit? Because if we show Finwë and Feanor after the party having a private conversation, we would also then show Fingolfin and Finarfin having a private conversation. It kind of balances that out. So if we showed Finwë speaking with Feanor in Act 1, and we show Fingolfin and Finarfin speaking to each other in Act 2, that'll...
Okay. Are they talking about what an older half-brother is, or what are they talking about here?
One thing that needs to happen, which I don't know that they're the right ones to bring it up, is that the Noldor are better than everyone. Needs to happen. And I don't know what they think about that. Because obviously their mom's one of the Feanor. Finarfin is married to one of the Teleri. So Finarfin, of all people, is not going to be on the Noldor are the best ever camp because his own mother, his own wife, aren't Noldor.
Right.
So Finarfin's probably the most reasonable of the Noldor on this issue. So he could be speaking against it. Like, have you noticed how everyone is always so disparaging towards the Vanyar and the Teleri? And Fingolfin will be like, yes, I've noticed how everyone's disparaging against the Vanyar because we've grown up with this our whole lives of everyone telling us we're not real Noldor because our mom's Vanyar. Right. So that it could be them complaining about this attitude rather than agreeing with this attitude. Which means we can only have them have that conversation after we've seen a little bit of the aren't the Noldor so great going on in the workshop with Melkor.
They're basically having a conversation about the Aryanism amongst the Noldor.
Yes, they're becoming concerned about the Noldor nationalism that's breaking out in Tyrion.
Okay.
This whole "Make the Noldor Great Again" campaign seems to be disturbing.
Yeah.
The Noldor already are great.
You're saying this to the guy who's going around Fingolfin great again on Twitter right now. So
right, yes.
That's true. You did do that, didn't you?
Oh, come on.
Oh well.
That's hilarious.
And it got to the point of what the issue there was. We don't care about giving Fingolfin an arc. That's great. We're concerned about turning him into a wimpy character for no reason. It was like, no. He should always be great, but just
right.
Develop and grow into it instead of being great from the beginning. So here we can see some of his impatience, some of his frustration with other people, because if they're sitting around as princes of the Noldor talking about how their people are getting uppity, and therefore they're looking down on their own people to have this conversation. Like, this is a very pot kettle. It's a pot kettle situation. So I think the audience would probably pick up on that. Like, what are you guys doing?
Will the term "bulls" come up at all? Anyway.
Will the what come up?
The term basket of. Anyway. Okay, so we can get
basket of something, but I know the illusion you're going for.
We get so we get that moment. Then we get a wing nurse chapel out of his quarters with a bowl of soup. That's actually Feanor. Like household servants out of his workshop. Decides that this has gone on long enough.
Right.
And she goes in. They have an argument, which what does that look like? Because clearly she an argument.
She tries to tell him, you don't need to do this right now. You need to take a break. You'll get there eventually, but there's no rush on this. And he's got to be like, no, you don't understand. Close. I'm almost
right
there. If I take a break now, I'm going to lose it. Like, he has to be sold on the, if I just stick with it a little bit longer, I'll get it all figured out. Like, stop bothering me.
Like, this isn't a block of stone that will just sit there and wait for me to come back to it.
Right.
Yeah, and he might fling that back at her, like, you have no idea what I'm doing, so stay out of it. Which is a rather rude thing to say.
Yes.
And very in character.
Yes. You know, I've been thinking of Feanor. Feanor shares some qualities with Hamilton from the Broadway show Hamilton.
Take a break.
Yes. I was actually in this scene. Yeah, this scene, she's singing "Take a Break," and he's like singing, you know, or singing "Why do you work like you're running out of time?" Like, you know,
yeah.
Like, particularly because at this point, there's no reason to rush it. I mean, the elves aren't running out of time anytime soon. There's nothing. They are, but there's no sign necessarily to the elves themselves that this is the case. Like,
okay, so Nerdinel should say something like, the light of the trees isn't going anywhere. It's going to be there when you come back to it. Like, what's the rush? So she needs to call it out, like, this is always going to be there.
Right.
And even if he doesn't have a good answer for it yet,
but
did something.
That's true. But also, I feel like it's possible in saying that she doesn't understand what he's doing. Mostly because he hasn't told her.
Yes.
Right.
It's very unfair.
To a degree, she doesn't know. In my mind, he's basically trying to start a cold feud in the palm of his hand, and it's possible that you can't just walk away. So we're not showing that on screen, but
he can imply that he can't walk away from this. That this is something he needs to be actively involved in.
Yeah.
And that's vague enough that we don't know if it's science or magic, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I like how the hosts are like, we absolutely cannot show the inside of Feanor's workshop. And we're like, okay, scene number 3, inside of Feanor's workshop will look like this.
Well, I have to be very dark because every time somebody tries to walk in, he shuts everything down.
Is it, like photography darkroom where if you open the door, it ruins everything?
What's that?
Like a photography darkroom where if you open the door, it ruins everything?
Oh my gosh, that would be mad, so mad at everybody who bothers him. Because every time they open the door, and he has to start over. Speaking of starting over, let's take a break.
Yes, let's take a break.
This live on YouTube. If you're watching this live on YouTube, we'll be back in a minute. If you're watching YouTube at some time tomorrow, the next day, the day after that, or perhaps one day, thousands of years from now, when people look back, it's not going to matter. Anyway, they'll have made this into something. They'll actually,
it'll be a historical document about
10 years.
Yeah, it'll be a historical document about like the disappearance of the two trees of Earth, right?
Yeah. So anyway, that's the case. Definitely like and share the videos if you like and want to share them. If you haven't yet, feel free to subscribe for the links for Myth Moon 4 and all that great stuff. We'll be back in a minute.